According to recent reports, the Los Angeles Lakers held a pre-draft workout with center Samson Johnson, a prospect out of the University of Connecticut. Now, let's break this down because there's a lot to like here, and also some realistic context that needs to be laid out. Johnson is a 6'10" big man, just 22 years old, and comes from a UConn program that's known for its winning culture and disciplined development. That kind of environment already puts him a step ahead when it comes to understanding structure, roles, and what it takes to contribute to a team in a meaningful way. The Lakers historically have shown a lot of love for these older, more seasoned college players. Guys who've gone through several years of development, who understand their identity on the court and can step in without needing to be spoon-fed. Every little detail. Now let's talk about the kind of player Johnson is. Athletically, this dude is a monster. We're talking about a high-motor, hyper-athletic forward-center hybrid who thrives in transition, runs the floor like a deer, and plays with a real sense of urgency. He's not a polished offensive player. That's important to mention. You're not going to run your offense through him, and he's probably not a guy you're throwing the ball to in the post and asking him to go get you a bucket. But what he does bring is serious defensive versatility and rim protection. He's quick on his feet, which allows him to guard out in space, switch onto smaller players in pick and roll scenarios, and still be a reliable shot blocker. In fact, shot blocking and rebounding are considered his two biggest strengths. This is the kind of raw, athletic big man that the Lakers have needed. Think about the role players that have thrived around stars like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The formula has always included a big who can set screens, roll hard, catch lobs, and most importantly, clean up on the glass and protect the rim. Johnson fits that mold perfectly, and this is key, he is very much a project. He's not coming in on day one and instantly becoming the starting center. He's not walking through that door and taking 25 minutes a night right away. That's just not realistic. However, we've seen players like him succeed in the right situation. Look at what happened with Derek Lively in Dallas. Lively was an energy big, a rim runner who played within his lane, didn't try to do too much, and benefited massively from playing next to a high IQ playmaker like Luka Doncic. You get a player like that to just understand his role, hit his spots, maximize his touches, and suddenly you've got yourself a very productive player. Now, if you're expecting Samson Johnson to be a 10-8 guy right out of the gate, that's probably optimistic. But if the Lakers are bringing him in with the mindset that he's a long-term development piece, someone they can mold over the next couple of seasons, then there's real value there. For a team like the Lakers, who only hold the 55th pick in the second round, you're not looking for a finished product. You're looking for upside potential and a skill set that you can shape over time. Johnson fits that bill. He's not just athletic. He's built for the modern NBA in terms of length and mobility. We're talking about a 9'1" standing, reach, a 7'2.5" wingspan, and a vertical leap of over 30 inches. That's the physical profile of a guy who can protect the paint, challenge shots, and become a serious rim deterrent. He's currently listed at around 225 pounds, which is solid, but there's room to add more muscle to handle the rigors of battling against the bigger bodies in the league. Ideally, you'd want him to bulk up to that 240, 250 range, but that'll come with time and NBA strength training. What matters more right now is that he already has the frame, the motor, and the athleticism to compete. If he's coachable, and by all accounts he is, then he's got a chance to carve out a role sooner rather than later. His numbers at UConn might not jump off the page. He averaged about 7.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, and a block and a half per game as a senior, but those stats came in just under 20 minutes per night. That kind of production, scaled up to NBA speed and with more minutes, becomes really interesting. You give him 15 minutes a night in the league, and he gives you something like 10 points, 5 boards, maybe a block and a half. That's a real impact, especially coming from a late second rounder. Plus, let's be honest, a lot of those points in the NBA are going to come from easy buckets, lobs, dump-offs, putbacks. Stuff that doesn't require a polished offensive game, just good instincts, timing, and effort. The Lakers have a bunch of bigs in the system already. Guys like Jackson Hayes, Colin Castleton, and even younger names like Trey Jemison. So Johnson wouldn't necessarily walk into a wide open rotation spot. But what he would have is a place in the developmental pipeline. He's younger than most of those guys by at least 2 years, and that counts when you're talking about upside. You bring him in, maybe on a two-way contract, maybe even just as a stash guy to develop for a year or two, and see where things go. Not every rookie needs to contribute right away. Sometimes it's about adding tools to the toolbox and letting them sharpen over time. What makes this more intriguing is that Johnson's workout with the Lakers isn't the only one. He's also worked out for the Utah Jazz, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Washington Wizards, so clearly other teams see the potential as well. That kind of interest across multiple franchises usually means a player has something legit to offer, even if it's not all the way there yet. Teams don't waste workouts on guys they don't think could fit somewhere. At the end of the day, this is about fit and future. If the Lakers feel that Johnson has the right mindset, the physical tools, and is willing to put in the work, then taking him with a 55th pick or trading up a few spots to secure him could be a smart move. He's not going to change. It's in the franchise tomorrow. He's not your day one starting center, but if you're thinking about depth, long-term potential, and adding a cheap athletic big who could develop into a rotational piece, then Johnson makes a ton of sense. It's going to come down to how much the Lakers like his upside compared to other bigs in that range and whether they feel like they can unlock his potential over time. Let's also not forget that the Lakers have done well historically with finding diamonds in the rough, whether it's undrafted guys, second rounders, or even late bloomers who needed the right environment to grow. Johnson could absolutely be one of those stories. He's not going to be a highlight reel offensive player, but if he can just stay in his lane, anchor the paint, roll hard, and defend with energy, that's enough to carve out a nice role in this league. And with the right structure, coaching, and patience, the ceiling could be even higher than people expect. Now, if we go a bit deeper into what Samson Johnson brings to the table, it's worth considering how he might actually fit into the current Lakers system. Not just in theory, but in terms of practical application. Darvin Ham and the Lakers coaching staff have emphasized the need for switchable defenders and high-energy bigs who can run the floor, protect the rim, and function in space. Johnson's skill set, though still developing, leans in exactly that. Direction. He's not someone who needs plays called for him. He's not demanding post touches or mid-range opportunities. Instead, he thrives in that complementary role where hustle and instincts create value without needing to dominate the ball. This type of low-usage, high-effort big is exactly what can thrive alongside stars like Anthony Davis and LeBron James, or even in future rotations built around younger pieces. Think about the offensive ecosystem the Lakers have been trying to construct. Spacing, pace, transition offense, and second chance opportunities. A player like Johnson fits that blueprint. He's the kind of guy who sets hard screens, rolls to the rim with intent, gets his hands ready for lobs, and crashes the glass like his paycheck depends on it. These are the dirty work details that win games, especially in the trenches of an 82-game season where role players make the difference between mediocrity and consistency. Let's also not forget that one of the Lakers' persistent issues in recent seasons has been their lack of a true lob threat when Anthony Davis isn't on the floor. Dwight Howard filled that role during the 2020 title run. JaVale McGee brought that energy, and even guys like Thomas Bryant were useful for stretches because they played above the rim. Johnson has that same kind of vertical athleticism with a little more agility and lateral quickness. He could be that end of the bench or G League stash who earns his minutes over time. Not because he's flashy, but because he becomes dependable. And with his size, standing reach, and timing, he might even give you a little more shot blocking than some of those previous guys. Now, development is never a straight line. There will be games where Johnson looks completely lost, especially early on. Whether it's fouling too much, missing rotations, or not boxing out properly, these are the growing pains that every project big goes through. But what you're betting on here isn't perfection, it's progress. Can he go from playing 10 minutes of messy basketball in November to 15 minutes of controlled high-impact energy by March? That's the growth arc you're hoping for. And with the right coaching and mentorship, maybe a veteran big man who can take him under his wing, Johnson could absolutely find his footing faster than expected. The other element that can't be ignored is the Lakers' front office strategy. With second-round picks and undrafted players, They've done a solid job at identifying raw prospects with specific coachable traits. Austin Reeves is the poster child for this kind of success. No, Johnson's path wouldn't be identical, but the mindset from the Lakers' development staff would be similar. Get a guy with high motor and physical tools, simplify the game for him, teach him how to be elite at 2 or 3 things, and then slowly build out the rest of his skill set over time. In Johnson's case, that might start with rebounding positioning, pick and roll coverages, and rim running. If he locks in on those 3 areas, he could start making an impact even before his offense truly develops. And while some fans might brush off the significance of the 55th pick, it's important to remember that late second rounders are often about finding specialists. You're not drafting a star. You're trying to draft a guy who can become elite in 1 or 2 areas that fit your system. Johnson's shot blocking and mobility put him in that conversation. Combine that with his youth and championship pedigree at UConn, and you got someone who's already learned how to win. That mentality alone gives him a leg up over guys with better raw numbers but who never tasted team success. Looking around the league, you see examples of players who were overlooked because they weren't fully formed offensively but ended up becoming valuable role players. Jarrett Allen was raw when he came into the league, and now he's a key piece in Cleveland. Nick Claxton took a few years to develop, but now he's an anchor for the Nets defense. Daniel Gafford didn't light up college stat sheets either, but he's carved out a role with the Wizards as a mobile big who plays his part. Johnson doesn't have to reinvent the wheel. He just needs to follow that same blueprint. There's also the contract angle to consider. If Johnson does get drafted or signed by the Lakers, he'd be a cost-controlled asset for several years. With the new collective bargaining agreement, tightening cap flexibility for contending teams, players like Johnson, who can contribute on a rookie scale or 2-way deal, are immensely valuable. You can't fill out a competitive roster with max deals across the board. You need rotation players on cheap contracts who can plug holes, eat minutes, and maintain defensive integrity when your stars are resting. Johnson has the tools to be that type of asset, and in a salary cap league, that's a big deal. Another scenario to consider is the idea of the Lakers buying a pick earlier in the second round. They've done it before. And if Johnson starts to climb mock draft boards after strong workouts, the front office might decide he's worth the small investment to secure. Teams like Brooklyn, who hold mid-second rounders, could be trade partners in that case. The question becomes, do the Lakers believe in him enough to jump the line and ensure they get their guy before another team swoops in? Beyond just the on-court value, Johnson could also thrive in a locker room like the Lakers. The presence of veterans who've seen everything, from championships to bottoming out, can help shape young players. There's accountability in that kind of environment. Guys like LeBron and Davis, assuming they're still around next season, aren't just leaders, they're standard setters. If Johnson comes in with the right mindset, he'll absorb lessons daily from guys who've walked the path before him. And that's priceless when you're trying to fast-track development. Lastly, let's not sleep on the fact that multiple teams have already shown interest in him. That's not nothing. The Jazz, Bucks, and Wizards have all brought him in for workouts. That means they've seen enough on film to want to get a closer look. Maybe they like his footwork. Maybe they see untapped potential as a weak side defender. Maybe they're impressed by how coachable he is. Whatever the reason, it's clear that Johnson is generating buzz, and in the late stages of the draft process, that buzz matters. It tells you that teams are starting to believe he might be more than just a project. They're starting to believe he might be worth the investment. So if you're the Lakers and you're looking at your options, Johnson represents something pretty rare. A second-round big with elite physical tools, a winning pedigree, a coachable attitude, and a path to real NBA minutes if developed correctly. That's a lot to like for a pick in the 50s. He's not a sure thing. No one at that range ever is. But he checks a lot of boxes, and sometimes that's all you need to take a swing and hope it connects. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on. In a move that could shake up the NBA landscape, rumors are swirling that Michael Porter Jr. has privately expressed interest in joining the Los Angeles Lakers. According to sources close to the situation, Porter Jr. has reportedly said yes to the idea of donning the iconic purple and gold jersey, sparking speculation about a potential blockbuster trade or free agency move in the near future, while no official statement has been made by Porter Jr. or the Denver Nuggets whispers. Within league circles suggest that the Lakers have been monitoring the situation closely. The 25-year-old forward, known for his scoring prowess and perimeter shooting, could be the missing piece the Lakers are seeking as they aim to reload their roster around superstars LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Porter Jr., who has been an integral part of Denver's recent playoff runs, has long been admired for his offensive versatility and length. However, persistent rumors hint at a possible desire for a new chapter in his career, perhaps under the bright lights of Los Angeles, where the allure of championship contention and a massive media market are undeniable draws. Insiders believe that Porter Jr.'s camp is intrigued by the Lakers' vision for the future, especially as the franchise looks to transition into the post-LeBron era in the coming years. The prospect of becoming a focal point in one of the NBA's most storied franchises could be a tempting proposition for the young star, who has already showcased his ability to perform on the league's biggest stages. Of course, any move involving Porter Jr. would be complex given his current contract and Denver's likely reluctance to part with such a talented player. Yet, as is often the case in the NBA, where star movement has become the norm, nothing can be ruled out. The Lakers have shown in the past that they are willing to make bold moves to stay competitive, and Porter Jr.'s potential addition would certainly fit that mold. For now, this remains a tantalizing rumor, a conversation piece among fans and analysts alike. But as the NBA offseason approaches and front offices around the league begin to strategize, this could be one storyline that refuses to fade away quietly. Stay tuned. The possibility of Michael Porter Jr. in a Lakers uniform may be closer to reality than anyone could have imagined. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.